Ahmed Helal is the managing director for the GCC at the Asia Group. That's a policy consultancy firm based in Washington, D.C. He's also an economic and political risk analyst, and he joins me now live in the studio here in Doha. Ahmed, thanks so much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. Look, let me ask you first. There is so much confusion and uncertainty at this hour as to what exactly is going to transpire in Islamabad over the course of either the next few hours or the next few days. Where do you see things? We don't know yet if the U.S. is going to be sending its primary delegation. We've heard repeatedly from Iran that there's not going to be anybody sent unless this naval blockade of Iranian ports is lifted. Overall, what do you see happening going forward?
Well, I think this is what they call, we're familiar with the term, the fog of war. This is the fog of peace. No one knows who's going to be there, many bones of contention. But I would put my money on the fact that this is going to get worse before it gets better, because the tone is increasingly bellicose from both sides. Trump has been using the same language as destruction of infrastructure and power and so forth. And the Iranians are saying we have more up our sleeves in terms of the military. And if we do get to the negotiations, there's some really serious bones of contention. The primary one being the status of the highly enriched uranium in Iran. What kind of compromises can be made on both sides? The Americans want a 20-year moratorium on enrichment. The Iranians are pushing for 5 years. So there is actually some ground for compromise, but it's a matter for cooler heads to prevail. We've heard that Iran, the president, another power center, and this is another point, is that we're seeing some fissures. There's some power centers that their differences are being laid bare. The president is saying no one wants more war. We've had many casualties over the last 5 weeks, and we want to walk back. But I think that it's going more into the direction of another round of hostilities before we have serious talks.
Ahmed, there was a press briefing in the last couple of hours here in Doha, in Qatar, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They're still calling for de-escalation, but on the other hand, Qatar is not involved in mediation at this point. I want to ask you where you see things going when it comes to the concern being expressed by Gulf countries at this particular time.
Well, the Qataris are not assuming their regular responsibility or the role that they've had traditionally of being mediators, because they've been attacked. And they want to have other powers, other middle powers, to try and mediate between them. But the Qataris and the Gulf states obviously want this to be on a de-escalatory ladder. They want a cessation of hostility so that they can go back and crucially, they want the Hormuz Strait to be reopened. So that's why you're seeing intensified negotiations between the leaders in Qatar and the Iranians to get rid of this blockade and the confrontation over the Hormuz.
What happens now when it comes to Gulf countries seeking potentially to diversify defense agreements, defense partnerships, defense pacts going forward?
This is a key strategic imperative for the Gulf states now. You saw that they signed, President Zelensky of Ukraine did a tour de force in the Gulf, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and signed agreements to lend their expertise and their anti-drone warfare technology. And you're going to be seeing more of those happen in the background from different kinds of providers, American, Western, European. They have a great opportunity to step up, and also Asia. And the South Koreans, for example, we're working with some clients in South Korea who want to bring potentially their technology to the Gulf. The South Koreans have had success in the UAE in interceptors at as a fraction of the costs of the Patriots. So the field is very much open for different technology providers on interceptors.
Ahmed Helal, Managing Director for the GCC at the Asia Group, which is a policy consultancy firm based in Washington, D.C. Thanks again for joining us here on Al Jazeera. Great to get your perspective.
Thank you very much.